NBA playoff tiers and just go through the playoff teams. We're not going to go through the teams in the play-in. Technically, 7, 8 seeds are in the play-in, but I'm talking about 9 and 10. We're not going to talk about them. We're mostly just going to talk about the top 8 in each conference. And I think we can combine this, fellas. We could do East and West together.
I'm with it.
And we can start at the very tippy top with the contenders.
All right, let's make it simple. Celtics, Oklahoma City. Shout out to Alex Caruso. I love you like a brother. Cavaliers, healthy LA, and the list.
My list ends with those first 3 teams.
I understand.
My list does end with those
First
teams
3?
too.
Because originally I broke it up between East and West, and I was struggling like, damn, should I have more teams to contender for the West? But I think it's weird because I think multiple teams could come out of the West, but I don't think multiple teams can win a championship, if that makes sense.
Can the Lakers win a championship if we go? I'd argue we could.
I just don't think someone's gonna get past
As
OKC.
me or him?
Him.
Interesting.
I don't think a team in the West outside of OKC can get past OKC, then Boston or Cleveland.
Can I ask you a question though? With your idea that you believe that there are multiple teams that you can see coming out of the West, if you beat OKC, who's your only contender right now in the Western Conference, wouldn't that give you some type of confidence that, okay, if they can beat OKC, who's arguably the best team in the league, I agree that it's matchup dependent. If you can go out there and beat Oklahoma City, who's the best defense in the league, one of the best defenses.
Beat Boston, though.
I mean, Oklahoma City has been the best defense, and on top of it, they have arguably the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, but Boston, they play a whole different style than.
I agree. Listen, if it comes to Boston, Boston's the favorite for me. I agree. But again, it's not like we just have Boston as the only team in the East. We respect the Cavaliers as contenders, as we should, which is why I say a healthy Los Angeles Lakers are contenders. Because we do have one of the best defense, especially past the trade deadline. Even before that, we are still one of the best defense in the league. Luka Doncic, although he is not this all-world defender, he's been showing some great effort on the defensive side. But really where it stems from is LeBron James at 100%. And if LeBron James at 100%, we are contending for a title because when you have LeBron and Luka on the court together, magic happens.
When you have those two guys, I definitely trust them over an offense at the Cleveland Cavaliers because of what those two star powers bring together.
Have you seen how Luka has looked his last 4 games against Boston?
He hasn't been efficient.
No, against Boston.
Oh,
I
it's been
understand
terrible.
Like, that's where I'm hesitant on saying that the Lakers
Okay,
can go. You know what I'm saying?
So hear me. Because you keep bringing up the Celtics, and I think it's fair.
I think that just talking like that part.
No,
yeah.
but
you don't think Boston's going to come out. So
that's
there's no point
that's
to talk
where
about
I was
Boston.
at.
I don't. But we're talking about a tier with both those
But
teams.
they can't come out, though.
But all I'm saying is you keep bringing up the Celtics, and I understand that Celtics, in my opinion, are the best team. I think they are the favorites. But we all have the Cavaliers as contenders.
You think they could beat the Cavaliers?
I think that is a possibility. Not trying to undermine.
That's a better matchup
100%.
for Luka. For sure.
100%.
That's a better matchup for Luka.
And then that also is tough for running both Mobley and Jared Allen, depending on whether Mobley is shooting the ball at an efficient clip. I'm saying.
I just think the Lakers have a couple too many questions to be a contender. I think as great as LeBron's been, coming back from a soft tissue injury at his age, even though he's an anomaly, right?
This happens every year, to be fair.
It does. And, maybe giving him a couple weeks off is fine, which I think is fine, which is probably the least concern out of all the questions. Number 2 is what is Jackson Hayes really going to look like in a playoff series, 7 games? He's been great so far.
He's the new Derek Lively.
Against Evan Mobley,
oh, yeah, no, he's going to get killed.
he would get fried.
But here's the thing, Mobley's not going to be on Jackson Hayes.
Why?
If you want do you want Mobley on Jackson Hayes, or do you want Mobley on somebody else that actually is a threat offensively?
Mobley on offense.
Who's a threat for him?
Yeah, he would fry him.
Fry?
Yeah,
I don't
Mobley
know
would
about
fry
that.
Jackson Hayes.
Here's the thing, interior guys, we do a great job at limiting their game. If you look at all the best bigs that we've played recently, we've really done a great job outside of Brook Lopez.
That's because
that's going to go out there.
That's because the Lakers leave people open.
100%.
I'd argue you can't leave people open on the Cavs, especially if Mobley's at the 5.
I don't disagree.
They're gonna pick and roll them to death. That's just it.
I also think Luka has been solid defensively. 7-game series when teams get more methodical on how they attack guys. What does that look like? And then just Vando. Vando's been someone that I know you've been riding high on, but in the playoffs, he could get played off the court, and that's just going to be one less person you can play. And all of a sudden, your rotation goes from we have 8 guys we really like to damn, now we really only got 7 that we could play.
The Lakers playing the Cavs, I could see it. But OKC, I could see it too. I think Boston is where I don't see it. I think Jaylen Brown has played too well defensively against Luka to where I think he is the best defender against Luka in the league. Yeah. Lou Dort could be number 2. and then they just have too many dribble drive threats. I think that it's going to be very hard to contain them off the dribble.
I don't disagree. I think the Celtics, for valid reason, they're my favorites. They're amazing. They're pretty well-rounded, and by pretty well-rounded, I'm underselling them. They're perfect.
So if we had to rank these 3 contenders, it sounds like you'd have Boston 1.
I do have Boston 1.
Let's go round table here.
I have the Thunder.
Actually, I have the Lakers in tier 1.
Okay.
Oh, so we are in tier 1.
Yeah,
I agree.
We were talking about something else. So
I'm sorry, I was confused.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I just think I thought on mine for a long time. I sat on it for a minute.
Hot.
You have to look at I tried to look at every possible outcome that can happen. You know, I tried to figure out if this team matches up with this team matches up with this team, and there's definitely an avenue where I can see Lakers, OKC in the WCF.
Definitely.
And if you go to the WCF, I can see a world where the Lakers beat OKC. Now, I don't see a world where they could beat Boston. I see a world where they can beat Cleveland. So that would make you, for me, a finals team. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's avenues to this.
I agree.
I have the Lakers in tier 1 because I think they can beat 2 out of the 3 teams ahead of them. Like, I think there's a world where they can beat Cleveland. I think there's a world they could beat OKC. I don't see them beating Boston. Like, it's going
to be hard.
Matchup dependent and stuff like that. So, like, that's why I have them in tier 1 because I do think star power matters. I do think defensively they have guys. Like, not to say they don't. I'm more on the side of Dell's in terms of the question marks with Vando, question marks with Jackson Hayes. I get it. Jackson Hayes looked really good. I don't want to diminish what he's done.
I appreciate that.
He's looked really good. But we've seen a lot of times that experience does matter. And granted, he's playing with Luka, he's playing LeBron. So he gets you get that little leeway because on offense, he doesn't have to do much. But defensively, now you're walking into the playoffs. There's a lot more on you. You're going to play a lot more minutes. Same thing with Vando. The only problem with me with Vando is how many minutes is he going to actually be able to play in a playoff series? Because now if you have Vando on the court, that gives you a ton of defense. That really does. Ton of effort, ton of energy. Even at points, offensive rebounding. But that's going to be another guy on offense you don't have to worry about for certain teams. And if you're looking like we're using these teams, for example, like a team like Cleveland, and you have Vando and Hayes out there, for the Twin Towers, that's beautiful for Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. If those two are out there, they're sitting pretty. Like, all right, we got these two, we can sit. For a team like OKC, they have their bigs. Those are guys you can help off of. So it's really, for the Lakers, it's about finding the best lineups. It's about finding, and of course, JJ Redick's been great too, but he's a rookie head coach. He's somebody going to the playoffs. What is he going to look like, in his first series? It's a lot of stuff like that. So, but I still think they're two guys, especially LeBron's been playing so well. Luka has shown you in moments that he can still be that guy. And I think they've earned the respect for me to where I can put him in tier 1. Probably like the worst team of tier 1, though.
I mean, with the Lakers, I think Luka is not shooting the best as recently, but I think he just gives you such a high floor with his playmaking. He boosts up the offense tremendously. I wanted to ask you guys a question. Does this mean anything to you? Because over the last 2 weeks, I've seen the Celtics play the Lakers, and I've seen them play OKC. The way Jaylen Brown played defense on Luka and neutralized him versus the way Jaylen Brown played defense on SGA, and he couldn't guard him.
Nobody can guard SGA
at this point, is SGA a better scorer than Luka?
He's the best scorer in the league. SGA is the best scorer in basketball.
If you're trying to make a claim for Luka over SGA, it's solely off playmaking. Scoring the basketball, to me, it's comfortable.
And it's also just past history. This season, I don't know. You can't make the argument for me, Luka over SGA.
He just keeps going up.
The way that he fried Jaylen Brown, he fouled him out. Yeah, essentially, he fouled him out.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even. It's not like he even played 40 minutes.
It was
he
one
got
of his
fouled
worst
out
games. Yeah.
Decently early into the fourth. He was in foul trouble all game long. He wasn't. The thing with Jaylen Brown too sometimes is if things go wrong on one side of the court, like he was turning over the ball like it was fucking 2023. Yeah, he was super inefficient. He was taking a lot of tough shots. But yeah, I mean, I've always said I think the Celtics in general guard bigger, stronger offensive players better than these quick first step guys like SGA.
They can't even guard D Mitch, man.
D Mitch always gets these averaging fucking 37.
And that's a legitimate fear when you have one of your better players being one of your better defenders going up against OKC, because you know that SGA is going to go out there and he's going to get him in foul trouble. A series of OKC versus Golden State, I get that Golden State has the experience factor on their side, but if you're going to go out there and Jimmy Butler now is your answer for SGA in moments, you know that SGA is going to get his, and he's going to try and put him in a position where he's not a factor late in the game because he is in foul trouble, or in moments in the game where he's not a factor because he is in foul trouble.
Yeah, SGA just has so many counters, like a counter with the counter on top of the counter.
You look at
it's crazy.
Game-winning bucket. You basically iced the game against the Celtics. When Derek White was on him and Jrue Holiday came to double-team him, he did it in and out, and then he did a hezzy fake and then it was the way that he just crossed over the ball. I've never seen it before. And
No, he's crazy, bro.
I've
He's
never seen it
crazy.
before, and he just got so much space to where when he rises up, Drew was maybe 4 feet away from him, and he does that against anybody. He's done it against Tatum, against Jaylen Brown. Any of those guys the Celtics throw at him, it doesn't work. Like I'm in awe of like how legitimately elite SGA is as a scorer. He is the most unstoppable scorer in the league right now.
No,
I know how Boston's gonna guard them.
It gets to all
They're
time.
just gonna throw two at
Yeah.
I'd
have
gonna
to.
throw
They
two at
didn't do it. They did it some in that game last week or 2 weeks ago. But I think once the playoffs come around, if they do end up seeing them in the finals, they can't. They don't have somebody right now that can guard SJ 1-on-1. So you're gonna throw two at him. You're gonna make him a playmaker. You're gonna force these other guys to hit shots.
So one thing that does bother SJ just a little bit zones do bother him a little bit.
Force him to make decisions.
That's something where it's force him to overthink a little bit in terms of just 1-on-1. I'm going to get.
And
this
also,
bucket.
when you're in the zone, you're not as thinking about playing 1-on-1 rather because you got someone on the back line who's going to be there. And we didn't have. I mean, I'm not making an excuse. Thunder beating us pretty calmly both these games, but having Porzingis I think would be big. He played in the first game. They still smoked us. But just having a rim protector there, like SJ can score from all 3 levels, obviously. But just knowing the back line, you have a high level elite rim protector. It's gonna make life easier. Obviously.
I was gonna say OKC can give Boston fits.
Yeah, they
no
have.
doubt.
2-0.
In the finals, I understand that there's the part of me that still gives the benefit of the doubt to the champion because they're so well rounded. But again, OKC is a mismatch for damn near every single team in the league.
They're number 1 in defensive rating. That's good. That's
one
of
the best defenses of
I
all
would
time.
I would probably have Boston 1, OKC 2, Cleveland 3.
Where does I know we talk about SGA in the all-time conversations, but where does this defense stand in the all-time rankings?
Gotta wait and see. Some all-time defenses we've
They
seen.
need
the Spurs all-time defense.
What year would you
Warriors.
single out?
You can grab 4.
I
or
agree,
5.
but if you had to single out one,
Pistons.
I think of the 04 Pistons, the Warriors. Which one would you go? 17, 18,
I would go 16.
60? Oh, without KD.
No, I would actually put KD in there.
That's what I'm
do
saying.
both.
KD was all defensive
But you can
player.
even go to like a team like Indiana in 04,
04,
05.
that's a good
like,
game.
With Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal. Like
Would you count the 96 Bulls in there? I feel like you kind of have to.
I was thinking more our era. I don't want
Okay.
to go too far back.
Because I'm really.
You could think 07 Spurs.
You look at every single thing. It's OKC won on defense. They
think
really are historically
07
that great.
Boston
I think it's the
defensively.
majority without Chet. That's
Yeah.
so crazy.
They
to
don't
me.
have anybody you can hunt. Like every lineup to put out there is gonna have someone that can defend.
And the double big lineup for them as of recently has been really good.
Yep.
I mean,
course.
Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, they run a lot of pick and roll together, dribble handoffs together. Chet Holmgren can handle like a forward. So that's what gives them a big advantage in those lineups, and he can space the floor. I think that they're just experimenting, and Mark Daigneault right now is just figuring out what works best. And that's why
like 12
I don't
games
even
up.
think we've seen the best version of OKC yet. I think we're going to, in the playoffs, we'll see what happens. But right now, the major knock on them is that they're young, they're inexperienced.
fair.
Their best players have to show up outside of SGA because Chet and J-Dub, they didn't play their best brand of basketball in the playoffs this past
It's
year.
their shooting too.
But I think they will show up.
It's what does Caruso do? What does Dort do? What does Chet
been
do?
cooking.
All of this from mostly from the 3-point line because SGA is gonna get fucking doubled every time he drives. He's gonna be seeing 2 guys. If those 3 guys specifically, because I feel like they have maybe some of the most variance, even though a lot of these guys have variance. Even J-Dub we saw struggle at times last year. If they're hitting shots, yeah, OKC could win it all. If they're going to be hovering around like 30 to 35%, that's when we can see them get upset.